There's more Donovan Mitchell to the New York Knicks rumors. And also, Coach Tom Thibodeau has been called out by one of his former players. We're going to break it all down on Knicks Digest. So welcome back, guys. My name is Chris. And as we know, we're going to jump right into it and talk about Donovan Mitchell and the fact that he will not be signing a contract extension this offseason. It was reported earlier by Brian Windhorst that Donovan Mitchell will not be signing an extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers this summer, and that could mean that Mitchell will become an unrestricted free agent in 2025, and for the first time in his career, he will be able to have full control over the next team that he plays for. Whether he re-signs in Cleveland or goes to a new team, New York Knicks or not, Mitchell can be putting himself in the position to finally get to decide where he wants to play basketball. Because as we know, he did not mention the Cleveland Cavaliers as a team he was interested in playing for, and they sort of came out of nowhere after Mitchell, as he said on JJ Redick's podcast, believed that he would be a New York Knick. He said, if you remember, that he went to sleep one night saying, "I'm a New York Knick. By tomorrow, I'll be a Knick." And it didn't happen, and he later ended up on the Cleveland Cavaliers around 2 days after that. So we know the NBA is crazy. We know that anything can happen. And we're not sure what's going to happen with this Donovan Mitchell whole situation right now. But what we do know is that he will not sign an extension this summer. Brian Windhorst reported on it and said that he does not expect Mitchell to sign an extension with the Cavs this summer. He also said that he does not expect this to cause major alarm. What that means is that there is a very good chance that the reason Donovan Mitchell is not signing a contract extension is because he is holding out another year to get more money, because as we know with the CBA, it's basically an ever inflating like max contract that you can get year after year. It's not something that is pretty flat. Basically, the more you defer, the more money you'll get. So Mitchell is trying to sign an extension next summer potentially, because he will make more money from the Cleveland Cavaliers than he would if he signed an extension this offseason. That is one very real possibility. But another one, and I would guess these two are both factors in Mitchell's decision-making, is that he wants to see how good the Cavs are and where the Cavs go. When the Cavs traded for Donovan Mitchell, I felt like it was the right move because they were in position to go out and get a superstar. They had the assets. They wouldn't fully deplete their team. But we saw Evan Mobley maybe not exactly make the jump that everyone was hoping for. And that's really what the goal was, to pair Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen with their hopeful superstar in Evan Mobley. Though he hasn't had that breakout season that everyone's been waiting for. He's only 2 years in. It could literally happen this offseason, or this season, excuse me. And then Mitchell would probably be happy to sign an extension, because if Mobley is to break out, the Cavs will be an elite team in the Eastern Conference and have a chance to go to and win the NBA Finals. However, if that is to not happen, if the Cavs are going to have another disappointing season where they get knocked out in the first round, maybe once again by Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, the whole New York Knicks gang, then maybe Mitchell will think heavily about this and not go back to the Cleveland Cavaliers and hit the open market in 2025, where, as we all know, Mitchell does definitely have some interest in playing for the New York Knicks. If we look here, this was talked about by Andrew Lopez earlier this month, where the Donovan Mitchell to the New York Knicks rumors still haven't gone away, despite the Cavs trading for him instead of the Knicks trading for him last summer. And this was a prediction that Andrew Lopez had. This is in a list of predictions. And he essentially also said that Mitchell is extension eligible this offseason. And if Cleveland thinks there's a chance that Mitchell may bolt, perhaps they look to seeing what they can get for the player they just dealt 3 players, including Lauri Markkanen, who's now an all-star, 3 first-round picks, and 2 swaps for. That's interesting, because now, as we know, Mitchell is not signing an extension this summer, which means there is one more summer where Mitchell could be signing an extension before the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to start to worry that Donovan Mitchell will be leaving in 2025. Mitchell is from the New York area. I believe he grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut. His father works for the New York Mets. There is a bunch of connections here that would lead Donovan Mitchell to playing for the New York Knicks. This is the team he grew up watching, and I think for most people, you want to play for your hometown team, at least a little bit, the team you grew up watching. We see it with James Harden right now. He wants to go to one of the LA teams, specifically the Clippers. I don't know if Harden grew up a Clippers fan or a Lakers fan. The safe bet is to say he grew up a Lakers fan. But I'll tell you from my personal point of view, obviously I'm not in the NBA, but if I were an NBA player, being that I live 3 blocks from Madison Square Garden, I would like to play for the Knicks, and it's because I grew up a Knicks fan. And if I were to not play for the Knicks, I would like to play for the team that is the closest to the Knicks, that being the Brooklyn Nets. That is what James Harden is doing. That is what Kawhi Leonard did. That is what Paul George did. We have seen players go to their hometown once they finally have control over free agency. The first time Kawhi had control over his free agency, he went home instantly. Paul George got traded there. George almost went to the Lakers. The LeBron thing may have thrown things off, and then he ended up going to the other team in his hometown. And what I'm really saying here, I'm not saying Donovan Mitchell's going to go to the Nets. I mean, there's a chance that he does. It can obviously happen. No one expected him to go to Cleveland, and that's where he is now. But Donovan Mitchell probably would prefer to play for the team that is closest to home, where his family is, where his friends are, where his life before the NBA was. People want to go home. They love their hometowns. They always have a special place in their heart for it. And Donovan Mitchell is no different. This all being said, I think there's a very, very good chance that Mitchell will sign an extension and try to get his money. But there is certainly a world where this is just, we're really just waiting for Donovan Mitchell to say, okay, now that I can control my career, I'm going to do what I've wanted to do basically since draft night in 2017. I am going to the New York Knicks. I mean, Mitchell wanted to go to the Knicks on draft night. It sounded like half of the Knicks front office wanted him. The other half wanted Frank Ntilikina. Phil Jackson took Frank, got fired 3 days later. And I would guess that part of the reason is because a lot of the front office wanted Donovan Mitchell after the workout that he put in with the New York Knicks. No shade to Frank, though. We all love Frank. We stand Frank Ntilikina forever. And now, a second topic for this is that a former New York Knick, Austin Rivers, calls out his coach when he was on the New York Knicks in Tom Thibodeau. Now, Rivers recently went on to Bill Simmons' podcast, and he talked about his Knicks tenure quite a bit. He talked about basically his short-lived career with the Knicks as he got traded at the deadline, and he said one of the things for him is that he never fully felt like he was part of the team. And we're just going to look at this. What Rivers exactly said was the Knicks tenure messed with me for a little bit. I was having some really good success there early on, and it just felt like that whole time I was there, they were kind of waiting on me to either not play well or something happened so they could bring Derek in. That's just how I felt. I loved Austin Rivers on the Knicks. I thought he gave them great energy. He was the first person to say this team is going to the playoffs. In an interview early in the season, Austin Rivers said, I've been on good teams and I've been on bad teams. This is not a bad team. He then later put up that game against the Utah Jazz. That was awesome. I loved Rivers on the Knicks. Obviously, Derrick Rose holds a way more special place in my heart on the New York Knicks than Austin Rivers does. But Rivers actually, for a while before Rose got there, in my eyes, was the best point guard on the team. I fully did not want them to trade him. I wanted them to trade Elfrid Payton because he was just disastrous for the Knicks. But not to just pile on Elfrid now that he's out of the NBA. I wish all the best for all the New York Knicks players and former Knicks, especially guys who are no longer in the NBA who are trying to fight back into the NBA. I am not an NBA player, and I do not know how hard it is to stay there once you get there, but I know that people talk about how impossible it is. So I'm not here to bash on them. But to wrap this thing up, I don't really know what we do with this Austin Rivers situation. I don't think there's much to do. He's long removed from the New York Knicks. I honestly have no idea if he's on a roster right now. I don't believe that he is. I think he probably should be. He adds a lot to teams. He has that energy. He brings it every night. So we're rooting for the best for Austin Rivers. As we know, the Knicks keep it in the family. Derrick Rose, Leon Rose, not related, but they're close. And then Tibbs and Taj Gibson was there. The Knicks like to keep it in-house. Obviously, they wanted Derrick Rose for a while. They went out, they got him, and Derrick Rose was a huge help to the Knicks, and one of the main reasons why the New York Knicks were even in the playoffs in 2021. And to finish it off with some more Donovan Mitchell stuff, I just think Donovan Mitchell is a pretty good fit for the Knicks. It's sort of weird. It'd be unorthodox to have Jalen Brunson and Mitchell together in the backcourt. They both like to score the ball. They're both smaller guards who are offensively isolation-focused. That certainly worries me, and that's something that I want to hear about from you guys. What would you guys think about Donovan Mitchell on this current team? Leave a comment down below about that, because I'm genuinely interested to see how other Knicks fans feel, because I think, honestly, it's so much talent that you just add them and you say figure it out later. But at the same time, Mitchell doesn't exactly fit with this Knicks team, and it's really hard to say that he does, because there's a lot of isolation on the Knicks already, and Donovan, his defense is more, I'm going to funnel you to the big man, because his entire career has been spent with Rudy Gobert or the pairing of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, which is the best rim protecting duo in the NBA. And if he were to go to the Knicks, he would have Mitchell Robinson, another elite NBA rim protector, which would make me have some concerns about the defense Mitchell is going to play on the team and what the trade would be for Donovan Mitchell. It would not be as much as the Cavs gave up to Utah, but it would still be quite the package, because this is the numbers that Donovan puts up. Puts up 28 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shoots tremendously from the field. And as we all know about Donovan, the man is an absolute wrecking ball when it comes to just highlight plays. The man is all over social media because he's got hops, he's electrifying, and him being from New York, I mean, the Knicks fans would just love him. And that's all that we have time for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. The channel's going to go up. We're trying to do 5, 6 videos a week. We're bringing the Knicks news. We're bringing reactions. We're doing everything. And the season is right around the corner. And I don't know about y'all, but I cannot wait for some Knicks basketball. We're going to be reacting to videos. I keep saying it. And at one point it will come true. Troy and I are going to get on this together. And we're going to debate a lot of things because we cannot agree on anything but the fact that we love this New York Knicks team. So have a great day, guys, and remember, go Knicks.